What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Raider Report. As always, I'm Spencer Grzywacz, and I'm joined by the lovely Leigh Waldman.
Hi.
And we are also joined by a very special guest. The very dapper Chris Cook is on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, thanks for being on. Now, Chris, a little bit of background information on Chris Cook. He is the, and correct me if I'm wrong here, he is the Managing Director of the Office of Communications here at Texas Tech University.
Right.
Okay, awesome. So, before we get into some of the fun segments we have planned, real quick, what exactly does that position entail?
What does it not entail?
As brief as possible.
Yeah, as brief as possible. What I tell people is try to keep us out of the news when it's bad, try to get us out there when it's good. We tell the university's story. We tell the story of our students, their student successes, the successes of our faculty and their research. We try to tell those stories. So anything that puts our best foot forward, we tell those stories. We also market the university. We have a marketing arm, and we do that with in mind of awareness, just letting people know, hey, we're still here. We do it to recruit faculty, recruit students. We work with the Office of Admissions to make sure that we get good students like you here to Texas Tech. So there's just a lot of things we do. We handle the social media accounts for the university. What I like to tell students is when you're when it's 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. on a cold February morning and there's a little ice on the street, those tweets come to us.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and you know what tweets I'm talking about.
I send those tweets. Come on,
those come to our office. But anything communications-wise with the university that you see in the media, it's kind of an easy way to put it. We also work closely with the president, with the provost, and other departments on campus, in helping make sure the university message is consistent and good.
Awesome. Well, we also know that you're an undercover rapper extraordinaire, little known fact, and I really want you to rap for us. You said you can rap all the lyrics to Cool Mo D.
Yeah,
I Go to Work song.
Yes.
Now we have him here. We had him here in hopes of getting him to rap. Now, unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna be able to accomplish that today. But he did inspire us to kind of go. But we're gonna go learn these. I'm gonna learn these lyrics and.
You've got to. It's a great song. One of the pioneers of rap and hip hop, Cool Mo D, from the '80s. But I would definitely recommend you look him up. And
so take us through. We talked a little bit. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but take us through a little bit. We talked before the show a little bit about how you got into 80s hip hop and stuff like that. Take us through that because the tech students out there have a really big interest, especially with Straight Outta Compton coming out recently, and kind of older hip hop. So take us through how you got into that a little bit.
I'll tell you what kicked it off was MTV. Now, when MTV kicked off in the early 80s, we finally got it in my town. It was a slow rollout in small towns, and I remember a small town in Louisiana. But when it came out, that's where we started seeing the videos for groups like Run DMC and Cool Mo D, Curtis Blow, all these groups, the Crush Groove of the mid 80s. And but you weren't getting that on radio. And so if you didn't have a cassette player in your car, you didn't get to listen to it except on MTV. And so that was kind of the introduction. And I did have some tapes. Some friends of mine had tapes. I didn't have a cassette player in my car. Friends did. So that's kind of how we listened to it. But we listened to mainstream radio mostly, and it was hair bands and pop music, Madonna, groups like that in the 80s. But there was always that undertone of rap that we couldn't. We had to kind of find it ourselves. And it wasn't until I got to college that had my first cassette player in the car and things like that I was able to listen more, and had a lot of friends, of course, in college that enjoyed it as well. I was probably one of the few in my hometown that was into it. But that was kind of the birth of it. But I remember from somewhat of the beginning, my beginning was in the early 80s, and the Beastie Boys just kicked it off for all of us in my town. That was kind of the big thing then.
So what's your opinion on rap nowadays? Are you still a fan?
Yeah, I am, and what I like about rap music, and really about all music, but rap music especially, is, you look, it's hard to look past the lyrics sometimes. Sometimes the lyrics can be not just controversial, but crude at times, and that's with a lot of music. That's not just rap music. But one thing that with rap that draws me in is the storytelling and the conviction, the passion. That's what you mentioned Straight Outta Compton, and that's what a lot of that was about a movement. And it started with Public Enemy and groups like that, and then NWA, and it's just the story and the passion behind it. It went through Tupac, went through Biggie Smalls and those guys, and just hearing the passion and the stories they told of their experiences was just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And then I like the beat too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the beat's
Yeah.
good. It's something you can definitely dance to. I think it's almost kind of funny that you mentioned kind of the crude lyrics because, we want to take a look at some of the stuff Conor McGregor says during his press conferences, comparing it to rap lyrics and see if we can even determine who said what. So that's going to be our little game we're going to play here really quick. So, you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So, and a little disclaimer, Leigh and I, even though we're hosts, do not know who these quotes are by. They're anonymous. We didn't cheat. Our writers, our awesome writers did that for us, so thank you to those guys. So first off, we have, I run this whole thing, I run New York, I run this whole ship. Without me, none of this happens. So
is it McGregor or is it a rap lyric? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with a rap lyric. It sounds like something Jay-Z would say.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, see,
It was
and that's the thing.
Conor
There is quite possibly not a more polarizing figure in sports
there's no
today
question.
when it
that
comes
Conor
to
McGregor.
his,
Yeah.
There's no question.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't really know about that one either. I kind of almost thought it would be.
This is good. That was good.
Okay, our next one. I will hit a man with glasses. I think that's Conor McGregor.
I say Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor, what do you think of Spencer?
Man, that's a close one because I could see him saying that. It's tough, but I'm gonna go rap lyric. I'm gonna go rap lyric just to take the other one. Okay.
It's Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I won that by default. I won that because they both went Conor, so I had to
Yeah.
switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
That is something though he probably has said, just not in a press conference.
Right.
Rich enough that I don't have to tell them I'm rich.
That's a rap lyric.
That's
Gotta
definitely.
be
I feel like it's
Kanye.
Kanye.
That's gotta
Probably
be Kanye. That's.
Drake. Oh, well, we were still right. It was a rap lyric.
Isn't Drake supposed to be the most humble of the
Yeah.
new
I mean,
rappers? I don't
do
know.
you like Drake
Humble
at all?
doesn't sell though.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
it doesn't.
Do you listen
It
to
doesn't.
Drake at all?
I do not.
Oh, I was heartbroken. I follow his relationship status also.
He was
I was
probably pretty
heartbroken whenever
heartbroken,
him
too.
and Rihanna broke up because they're the perfect couple.
Didn't he have
So
a
now.
show on Disney?
He was on Degrassi back in the day
Okay,
before he was a
okay.
rapper. And I wasn't allowed to watch that, but I used to stay up late and watch it. Our last one, or our next one. At the end of the day, you got to feel some way. So why not feel unbeatable? Why not feel untouchable?
It's got a beat to it.
It's got a
feel it
beat
in
to
there.
it, but I feel like McGregor's kind of.
I'm gonna go with McGregor.
Yeah, he's
McGregor.
kind of cocky. What is that?
We got one right.
Wow.
We did get one right.
Wow.
We had
I'm
one
like
right.
0 for 4 right now. No, I got the
You-
Eminem one.
yeah,
I got the
you did
Eminem
get the
one.
Eminem one.
Yeah. Is that? Oh, this is our last. I don't know how many more we have. My success isn't a result of arrogance. It's a result of belief.
McGregor. It's got to be McGregor.
Yeah.
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 He just has that like really kind of cocky, like no one can touch me attitude.
Oh, he's even after he lost, he's really
Yeah,
cocky,
exactly. He goes in those press conferences like, "Hey, I'm gonna kick your butt," and like you're gonna know it when it happens.
Yeah.
That's right.
For sure.
Our next one is, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man."
That sounds less like a rap lyric and more.
Like he's trying to brand himself.
But
takes it
I
back
think
to-
it's a rap lyric.
But
I
yeah, I
still
want
think
to
it's a
say
rap
rap
lyric.
lyric
Yeah.
because
That takes you back to Mike Gundy's press conference from a few years ago when he was like, "I'm 40. I'm a man."
We were on the other side of the wall. That was after.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Man, I gotta
I
love
could
it.
definitely see that being a rap lyric, just because like, oh yeah,
There you go.
There's Jay-Z. There's Jay-Z
And
for
it's
it.
like,
Makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
almost a like we've had a lot of McGregor, so it has to be a lyric.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Those were good.
those were good. That's a little tough though.
So that's kind of more realistic gaming in sense of, and for all intents and purposes of actually hitting somebody. But there's other esports out there like Smash Bros, which is electronically hitting somebody. Do you know anything about esports? Do you follow esports very often?
No, I've seen it on TV. I know it started off, I think, in Asia or in
Okay,
Korea.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was where they were filling arenas with people watching people
Yeah.
play video games. But,
Yeah.
Other than that, I've seen it lately on TNT.
Yeah.
Okay, and you mentioned your son likes to.
He likes to play games. He has a few. He's 10, so we monitor some of what he plays, but it's mostly Madden and FIFA.
Same,
Okay.
same. Yeah, I don't know much about esports either, but our awesome tech students do. So we're gonna take it to Timothy Shieff, who is off-site interviewing our tech students.
Thanks, Spencer. Hi, I'm Timothy Shieff, and I'm here between the sub and the library at the free speech area, and we're here to find out, are video games sports?
I consider a sport to be any kind of basic competition between people's natural abilities.
Okay, so following that line of questioning, there's a lot of people that consider video game sports. How do you feel about that?
I would consider that to be true, but I think it more is dependent on the frame of mind the person is going in playing that video game.
Okay, so in a competitive environment, there's actually stadiums that have been sold out in Korea and places like that. There's $1 million prizes on the line. Definitely competitive atmospheres, professional teams out there. So, would you consider watching esports as a pastime?
Yes, definitely, and I definitely think those I do consider those sports as well.
Consider a sport anything. Consider a sport something that requires effort, either mental or physical. Like I consider chess a sport, for instance.
Okay, so do you consider certain video games to sport if it's in a competitive environment?
Certainly, League of Legends, StarCraft 2, they're all sports in their own right because it requires a lot of effort to train to be as good, to be on a competitive level.
All right, and it's becoming a very popular medium. Would you consider watching esports as a pastime?
I already do watch esports. I watch the StarCraft 2 tournaments when they're up. I watch some Call of Duty tournaments.
What do you consider a sport to be?
Well, that's a very broad category. I'd say a sport could be anything that requires a certain amount of focus and discipline.
Okay, so would you consider video games in a competitive environment to be a sport?
Absolutely.
And would you consider watching esports as they become a very popular medium?
No. Sadly, I'm not entertained by watching people play video games.
All right, well, esports aren't for everybody. Thank you, Kyle. What do you consider a sport to be?
Something competitive with two teams.
Okay, so there's a lot of people out there who would consider video games a sport. Would you consider video games a sport in a competitive environment?
I don't think it's a sport yet. I think sports kind of have to have like a structure around them. I think they're starting to get that. Like they're starting to get gaming leagues and things like that. But I don't think it's a sport yet. I think it's just a hobby.
Okay. Now, it is becoming a popular medium. Is it something that you would, or is esports something that you would consider watching in the future?
I don't know about watching people play games. It's not something I would like watching.
I mean, I wouldn't really consider them an actual sport, but I don't think they're bad or good. So yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Now, esports is an up-and-coming genre. It's essentially just a competitive video games played for prize money, and there's a lot of viewership for it. Would you consider watching esports?
Esports? Is that what you said? Esports? Probably not, honestly. Not that it's bad, but I just probably wouldn't.
It seems most people do think video games can be a sport, but they're still in opposition. In any case, it seems like the genre has a lot of potential, so back to you, Spencer.
Okay, thank you so much, Timothy, and thank you to all of our tech students who participated in that. Esports is pretty cool. I think it's up and coming, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of friends that play it. I like to get more involved with it, so
And I think a lot of the younger generation, younger kids nowadays, really like to watch it as well. So let's talk about some real hard-hitting sports.
All right.
Let's talk about our
Besides
college,
UFC.
Besides UFC. We're not talking about McGregor anymore. So, do you have any predictions for the top 4 college football?
Well, everybody is playing for the right to play Alabama.
Yeah.
It's and playing for second. I really believe that. I think Alabama, Ohio State, kind of way it lines up now. Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan are real strong. Those two, Michigan and Ohio State, to me, are the only two teams I think that can challenge Alabama. Now, well, they have some games left in the regular season, but I think those are the teams that can challenge them. And I see Louisville jumping in there.
Kind of by the eye test, they just look a little bit. I know they lost to Clemson, but they just look a little better.
They're
when
flashy
you're just watching them.
and they look good.
Lamar Jackson and company.
Yeah, and it could be wrong, but I really think that one of the Big Tens could challenge Alabama the best.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that Alabama doesn't get it because you don't want the people who always
right
to win. You want someone else just to come in there and take it away from them.
As just a football fan, I think just watching how pure they play the game is just impressive. And they're so big and strong, and their second team. I think the guys sitting on the bench are they're national champions 2 years from now
Yeah.
in the starting lineup. So it's just impressive what they've been able to do there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So one thing that this mix-up in this most recent release of rankings did was it kind of opened the door for the possibility, a slim sliver of hope that the Big 12 might sneak a team in there. You have 1 loss West Virginia, 2 loss Oklahoma, one of those to a really good Ohio State team. What are you thinking? You think that there's a little bit of a door there for us to enter through?
A lot of things have to come into play. It's one of those things at the end of the year we need this, and this to happen.
Yeah.
And we've got a chance. It doesn't put you in, but you
Yeah.
get a chance. And I'd love to see West Virginia. They've gotten better every week, and Oklahoma, of course, is traditionally a strong program. So if the Big 12 can get in there, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. It was something that, for the entire season, really, ever since Oklahoma lost their second game, was kind of like, oh, looks slim this year. But you never know. Come here at the end of the season.
So I got to ask the question though. So you got your undergrad from LA Tech.
Yes.
But your master's from Tech.
Yes.
Were you heartbroken at all when Tech won against LA Tech?
No, not really. I had not seen Louisiana Tech play in person since I graduated.
Oh wow!
And that was in '93, and I know I look like I graduated in 13, but
Just yesterday.
Yeah, just yesterday. But no, I was excited to have them in. A lot of people came in that I know, and so we went to dinner and just kind of caught up on some old times. So we had a great time visiting. But when it came to game day, I'm loyal to the red and black. Enjoyed seeing my alma mater play, and they've had a great season. I think they've got 8 wins, and they're 8-3 on the year. So I'm proud of what they've done. But no, I bleed red and black.
Okay, that's good to hear. I was going to say we might have to kick you off the show if you were rooting for LA Tech.
That does kind of real quickly, before we have to cut to commercial, take me into a question. You grew up in Louisiana. You went to La Tech. How did you end up at Texas Tech?
So it's kind of the circle. The circle's not complete, although I hope, and good Lord willing, the creek don't rise, they say, that it stops in Lubbock, Texas. So when I left school, I did a 1-year internship in sports information at Western Kentucky University. And it was a great experience, loved it. It was a great university, good town in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Met my wife there. And from there, I went to St. Louis University for 5 years to start to make that circle. And then after 5 years there, I wanted, this job came open here in athletics. Most of my career has been in athletics, and I wanted to work at a school with a large football program or within a large conference, and so it just worked out, and I was able to get this job, and I've moved myself into this position, which I've been in for 6.5 years. After 11 years in athletic communications, and I've been so fortunate, and Texas Tech is a wonderful place. Our son was born here in Lubbock, and we couldn't imagine raising him anywhere else. It's a great school system for him, but Texas Tech is such a great university. You guys know that. Y'all are here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So
I think we have a really good community here.
Yeah.
So I hope if we ever complete that circle, it's well into retirement.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's just a slight preview into what we'll have coming up in Act 3 with Chris Cook, so stick with us and we'll be right back.
Chris Cook. So, Chris, I want to talk to you about, you said one of your most memorable experiences when you were a student back at a national basketball game in 1991 in December. So, kind of bring us back to that time and describe that game for us. What it was like as a student?
Yeah, that was my first event working in sports information. And again, outside of graduation, post-graduation, I spent 17 years in athletic communications. And it all started with that event. And it was December 10th, 1991, Oklahoma State came in to play basketball at Louisiana Tech. They ranked 6th in the country. I think they had a player named Byron Houston on their team at the time. And the game, I remember, tipped off, I think, at 10:30. It was before you had the other ESPN channels.
Okay.
And so it tipped off at 10:30. And I remember walking in the arena, and there were lights everywhere. The TV truck was outside. The announcers were there. And I just thought, it was that moment that clicked for me. It said, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to help people like this do their jobs and help the media. And, I really, before that, stumbled into their office writing a story for the school paper on the Sun Belt Conference Cross Country Championships.
Okay.
And that's how I was introduced to the office and ended up volunteering. They said, you know what, come back. we have this basketball game in December, and we could use your help. And that was kind of how I got started, was that event. And so it always holds, it's one of the most memorable because of that. And that's why I'm here today, is that opportunity.
And you're saying you were just basically handing out stats when you were working at it.
Yeah, it's not, I didn't know what to expect, but I knew I wasn't going to go in and have some top job. I just wanted to be around it. I wanted to experience it, and whatever they wanted me to do, I did. And it's what a lot of our students that have worked for me here have done, is you start off, you hand out stats to the media. It's an important job. It sounds mundane, but it's very important. So that's what I did that game.
Okay.
So you, that was kind of one of your most memorable moments early in your sports career, but you said you worked there in sports for 17 years. So kind of take us through what else you worked on and how that went. Okay,
well, as I mentioned earlier, I went to Western Kentucky from there, and that was a huge learning experience. I came out very green out of college in this. I learned from the people I worked with, but still, we were a small shop, so it was more like, here, you just got to do it the best way you can.
Yeah.
And so I did. And on that first job as an intern, which is basically lowly paid assistant, very low paid.
Oh yeah.
I learned quite a bit, and I paid attention. As a matter of fact, the assistant in the Western Kentucky office is now the sports information director, or athletics communication director at Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
And the guy who hired me at Western Kentucky was there for, I think, 30 years in that role, and is kind of a legend in the field. But the opportunity to go to St. Louis, the lessons I learned there was trying to pitch stories. I worked for programs that didn't get a lot of publicity, programs that weren't always, they were kind of up and coming, so our records weren't always great, but they worked really hard, and then trying to place stories in the top 20 media markets. So you learned kind of persistence and patience and trying to pitch those stories. And then here at Texas Tech, I worked all 10 years with Coach Leach, and he was a very interesting character to work with.
Yeah,
and
I bet.
It was a lot of fun, very interesting, to say the least.
Speaking of press conferences,
and there were challenges presented, but we worked through them, so it was a learning process. And on top of that, we hired Coach Knight, and so lessons learned there working with him. And that's the thing. When I do have the opportunity to speak to students, is to look for those moments. Those are all teachable moments. You may go home and scratch your head, but think back of how that moment can benefit you in the future. And so there's so many moments like that. When you think of most memorable, though, I'm going to go to 2008, November 1st, and the Crabtree.
Oh yeah,
Harold. I think that's everybody.
Oddly enough, I don't think we brought that up on the show very much, just because we know about it so much.
We talked about it a little bit last week with the UT game and everything.
Yeah. So how did that? What was your experience going through that? Because we haven't really interviewed anybody that's been through that experience.
When you work in athletic communications, what you learn is working in a press box is a professional workspace. So there's no cheering. There's nothing like that. I was actually on the field when that happened, because toward the end of the game, we're getting ready to get the coach with interviews, get players with interviews, depending on how the game works out. And so I'm standing down right where the play before the Gideon from Texas drops the interception goes, and I'm standing right there. So there could have been an expletive or something until I realized he dropped it. I don't remember. But the very next play, I remember Crabtree catching his very slow-mo, and he scored, and I didn't move. And I remember, and I looked at my assistant, and he did probably a 40-inch vertical. And everybody's going nuts, and I didn't move, and I just thought, did I just see that? And this is probably the greatest finish in Tech football history that just witnessed. So I was so calm about it. And then the melee on the field, all the fans coming out, and Michael, and I dreamed it in my head. That's a line I'll never forget. It on the camera, and so it was memorable. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness, you're giving me chills thinking back about it.
Was it hard not to want to join the students and just bombarding
I was
the
so
field
focused on trying to find in the sea of students, trying to find Michael, trying to find Graham, trying to find Coach Leach, and get them over to the interviews that had to be done there on the field with game day. We had game day in town that week, and with ESPN, so it was, or with ABC. So it was hard to get caught up in it. You were caught up in it physically, but emotionally, you're trying to find those guys and get them where they need to be.
Okay.
And they wanted to celebrate with the students. They were like, no,
don't
pull me away.
Absolutely.
But,
I think Tech released a PR thing on Facebook about like the whole catch, what the like announcers were saying and everything. I remember watching it in my room and I was like, yeah, go Tech! I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, to this day I still get chills watching it or hearing about it. I remember watching it. My dad went to Tech, so I grew up a really big Tech fan before coming here. And I remember watching it at a restaurant. I think it was Boston's down in Dallas. And I was just so crazy watching it take place. And that feels like so long ago now, but also just felt like it just happened.
So is it difficult to go from just like the excitement of athletics sometimes to go more into the communications marketing role that you're in now?
Yeah, it's not so much the excitement, but it was attending. I still love college football, and I go to every game. But I remember the first game I went to out of this role, and it was in the fall of 2010. And my wife said, hey, now that you're not working every game, I can go with you and attend the games. And so we went, and I don't sit still. I don't want to sit still. I didn't know what to do with myself because I'm always working during the game. So I sat there and she looked at me. She said, "You know what to do you?" I said, "No, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing." And so the next game, needless to say, I came alone. But she was like, "You need to get up and roam around." She said, "I'm just, I'm going to watch HGTV at the house. Sports not her thing anyway." But she was trying to make a moment and say, "Hey, I'll come with you now that you're done." But even then, she was like, go walk around and talk to people, and I'll
do anything else.
Yeah, do what you need to do to stay busy.
Okay.
That's awesome. So you not only do you follow just college football, but you might not be able to tell, but his bow tie is a New Orleans Saints themed bow tie. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that you are a New Orleans Saints fan.
Oh, grew up a Saints fan, even through which most of my life has been difficult. To be a Saints fan. But you're diehard. You love the Saints. You love your team, and there are Browns fans out there who are going through this for years right now.
Oh, definitely.
And I know one in particular. I won't call him out. He wants to know. But they're going through it now. At least they had the Cavs and the Indians. But for New Orleans, we grew up. You'd see fans on TV wearing the trash bags on their heads with ain'ts written across. But hey, you know what? They're at the game.
Exactly.
They're at the game cheering their team on.
They're there.
So we've been diehards, big Archie Manning fan growing up, and a lot of great players that came through there.
Oh, definitely.
And then to finally see them win a Super Bowl and get a coach like Peyton and a player like Drew Brees that
That's gotta feel
really
good.
embraced the city. And it does feel good. It's nice to see them doing okay. They're not doing well this year, but that's okay.
As Cowboys fans kind of feel the same way. For a while, we weren't doing really what we wanted to, and then the God-sent Dak Prescott came in.
Yes, who was a Louisiana guy, so just so you know.
So it's like the best of both worlds.
Just so you know, right.
Yeah, so you can take some pride in that, too.
We'll
You
take
can
a
root
little
for
pride
Dak.
in it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's all we have for today's show. Unfortunately, we could talk with Chris for hours, but unfortunately, we only have a 30-minute show. But you can check out us on YouTube for more exclusive content. Also, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Follow us on those social medias at Raider Report. It's been a great season. We'll be back in the spring semester.
Yep, this is actually our last show. The last show for our seniors who work on. We want to thank them for all the work they've done throughout the season.
Absolutely. That's Garrett, Jaden, and Cassie, by the way. Our seniors leaving us, unfortunately. But we appreciate all their hard work and efforts that they've put in toward the show. So with that, thank you, Chris, for coming on the show
Thank you
today.
for having me. I appreciate it. Enjoyed it.
Next season as well.
Enjoyed it.
And stick with us and follow us on those social medias. See you later, guys.